Weston from 2008 to 2025. That's a long time. All right, let's get seated here. Give us a minute to get situated. All right. So we're picking up after the presentation of the plaques, etc., with our appointments. Let me get to that section here. Oh, I thought you knew that was on the consent agenda. That was not on the consent agenda? The business license for Happy Endings Bookshop apparently was not on the consent agenda, which I thought it was, so let's get that approved. Happy Endings Bookshop's opening up at 525 Main, and I looked through that and it looked like all of her paperwork was good to go. Like a motion to approve that?
Motion to approve the Happy Endings Bookshop at 525 Main.
Thank you, Joyce. A second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Jerry. All in favor? For saying aye. Okay, appointments. I spoke to Allison Roberts, and I believe, Jerry, you talked to Tim Penrod, who we would like to appoint to the Planning and Zoning and Historic Preservation Commissions. There'll be an opening because Jerry was on Planning and Zoning, and so that would be a place where Tim Penrod could serve. And then Allison was agreed to serve in the place of Susanna Barty, but Susanna will be here for the April meeting. So Allison would start the 1st of May. So if you all agree with these appointments, would you make a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion to approve the recommendations.
Both Allison and Tim?
Yes.
I'll second.
Okay. Is there any discussion or any questions about either of these individuals? They certainly have a desire to serve the city of Weston, as seen by their running for office.
I'm glad they stepped up. In fact, Tim is here this evening. So.
All in favor then? That's 4-0. Wow, going right through this thing. Just kidding. All right, after that, we've got some announcements. Now, I just had some follow-up things and some questions probably right here that we'll do tonight. First of all, I had asked for copies of the personnel policy and the purchasing policy for everybody in the board, just to make a reminder of those two things, and for our new aldermen to see what those entailed. And as far as the personnel policy goes, I'd like everybody to maybe start reviewing that, and the department has as well, and make any suggested changes. We don't have to do this right away. I'm just saying in the next few months, you have time to look through the personnel policy. And did you make those and put them in your boxes, or? Okay. We'll get those gotten to you. And if there's no changes that's needed, I mean, that's fine. But the personnel policy, I believe, was 2020 was the last time it was reviewed. So, I mean, it's a good idea to review it every once in a while. Do you agree with that? Mm-hmm. Yep. Same with the purchasing policy. If we're doing the things that we need to be doing for the citizens of Weston, we need to be following that policy every time we make a purchase. Any questions about those? Streets. So I just wanted to verify, Dina had paperwork from the county to request our funds that are being held at Platte County for our transportation tax, and that totals over $400,000, and we're hoping to get that very soon so that we can do some work on the streets. but we need to know, what streets we wanna work on, right? So, I know that you met with Seal-O-Matic and, Steve, Alderman Stumford, and, have an idea of what the price per square yard would be, or what a two-inch mill? 2-inch mill and overlay. So when can we expect a list meeting? I mean, I can drive around and tell you, there's quite a few that need some work, but I really want your opinion, Eric, because that's what matters, is, the ones you think need it the most, which ones are really, underground or getting worse, and, all of that stuff.
Sure. If you'd like to meet, we can go over
Okay?
all of that. There's more streets that need it than don't.
Oh, sure.
So the list of don't is much shorter.
Yeah.
What Steve and I had talked to the guys from Seal-O-Matic mostly about was 45 Highway to 5th Street on Washington, because it's still in pretty good shape for a mill and overlay. And then from Spring Street to Thomas Street on Washington, that block's still in fairly decent shape as far as just a mill and overlay. We don't have a whole lot of mill and overlays to be done. Most of them are gonna be reconstructions,
Okay.
which is
A lot more.
Yes.
Right.
Those 2 blocks, 3 blocks, however you wanna look at it, give or take ballpark, $90,000.
Anything that needs, chip and seal? I mean, we used to chip and seal portions of, your road, Middle Road, and some others. Is that an option in your mind?
Chip and seal is not really a city road covering or fix, shall we say. Middle Road was okay, but over the years, it's just exploded. It's not a good fix.
So you would recommend a reconstruction on Middle? One of those is reconstruction?
Yeah. That's
Okay. Well, I'm happy to meet with you, and when we start talking about liaisons and stuff, whoever's your liaison, then, maybe we can meet all together and look at that list and come up with a plan. Okay? Any questions for Eric on that, or any comments? Yeah, Joyce?
So Eric, you probably won't know until you actually start the work, but like when we did, Washington Street, the infrastructure was replaced, correct?
Yes.
So we won't know that until,
There are the 2 areas of Washington Street, the infrastructure on them is pretty good. Might get the lower block of Washington Street sewer cambered just to make sure. The upper block is from 45 to 5th Street is in pretty good shape. But yes, if we're gonna do a reconstruction, we would absolutely camber the sewers. Depending on when the water system was put into that specific area, we might look at if there's any galvanized, getting rid of that. Last thing we wanna do is put a brand new street in and cut a hole in it.
Yeah.
To fix the water, yeah, absolutely. Okay, so,
Of that $400,000 balance in the county, how much of that comes in per year?
I don't know that it's evenly, because I think it's really been more like 5 years since we tapped it. And, my recall was about 145, 150,000.
Per year.
Yeah, per year.
Seeing as we put a plan together, we can
Absolutely.
create a multi-year plan.
Yeah, I like those. Okay, anybody else on that? Okay, let's talk about liaisons. So right now, Joyce, you're the liaison for the water plant, and, I'm sorry?
and the chamber.
And the chamber, okay? You wanna stay with the water plant?
Yes, please.
Okay, that would be great. Greg, your planning and zoning and park board, stay with that. Jerry, I would like Jerry to be public works, and work with you, Eric, and then that would leave Sean as the police department liaison. I don't think we need to vote on those are ones that I appoint. The school, who has been the school liaison, or have we had a school liaison? I'm sorry, you were, okay, okay. Would you wanna continue doing that?
if you don't mind.
Okay, yeah. Chief Kelly? And then the Westcott Fire District? Has anyone been to Westcott Fire District?
Mark was doing it.
Oh, Mark was, okay. Is there anyone that would like to work with the fire district?
I will, I've worked with it a long time, so.
Okay, all right. And then you were with the chamber.
Yes.
Are you comfortable with the chamber?
Yes.
Okay, do you attend their meetings or?
Where's Gordon? Are you all right with that, or?
I guess Joyce. Joyce is the line.
Okay, we'll stick with that. That'll be fine. All right, Joyce. So with those liaison appointments, I would like to sit down with all of the department heads as a new mayor, see what you guys are doing, see if you all, anything you want, anything you need, and, we can work those out in the next week or so, that we can do that with our liaisons, and it may be late in the afternoon, if that's okay with y'all. I mean, we'll work with your schedule, I don't wanna put anybody on overtime or anything like that, but we'll do the best we can. I'd sure like to meet with everybody, just to reacquaint myself with you, just talk to you about what I think, you know, my vision is and all that kind of stuff, so. We're working. City Officials Training Seminar. So, this is, Jeff's, law firm that does these, training seminars. There's one on April 25th, in Independence. And then May 2nd in Jeff City, there's one in Springfield, May 9th in Clinton. So I've talked to, Dina, and Dina and Jamie both wanna go to one of these, but I do not wanna close City Hall for both of them to be gone at the same time. So, April 25, one of them will go, you know which one, Dina? You're going to the April 25, so that would leave Jamie here in the day. And then on May 9th, I'm going to attend the one in Clinton. And, I will take, Jamie with me to the one, I'll be having to drive to the one in Clinton. It's not that far, it's only a couple hours. And Sean and Jerry, you're both, you know, eligible to go to this, and I absolutely think that's one of the best things to do, is go to these, you know, newly elected officials, find out what's happening in things. We'll copy this for you, it's $35, of course, the city's gonna pay for that. And there is, I know, last time I read the personnel policy, there was provisions in there to pay for your, mileage as well.
I'll check my schedule on it.
Okay. Okay, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, all right, I'm gonna put you right here.
One thing I'd say there is I know that the Independence one's coming first, it is filling up, so if you can call tomorrow or try and get on that one, they've already told us that they said, don't put us in a position of calling at the last minute and saying, please hold one for my city, so. We've been encouraged to get you guys, the training is gonna be the same, all of them, different attorneys, each one of those, so, please, when you get a chance, yeah, April 25th is the first one, yes.
Yeah.
We'll get this, we'll copy this after the meeting, so
Alright,
both of
great.
you have a copy of that, so you can look at it over. Well. Okay, so I don't know if this is the right time, or if we wanna talk about it when we go around the table, but Eric, I know that you and Steve and Greg met with GBA, an engineering firm, about the lagoons. And I was interested to hear a report on that, and so that everybody can be on the same page with that. Do you wanna do that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Unless you want to do it, Greg.
No, go ahead, I can go.
We had GBA looking into the feasibility of, more houses in Weston, and our major limiting factor is our sewer system. And we weren't sure where we were, so that's why we brought GBA in. Right now, they're saying we could put another 120 houses with the ground that we have to land apply on. That's the next limiting factor. If we wanted to increase that any, we would need another 40 acres, and that would get 147 homes. So, just right now, the way we sit, we could add another 120 houses without any upgrades or anything else.
And in order to, increase that capacity, what's the first thing that we have to do?
Well, if we wanna go beyond the 120, we've made the initial contact of being able to tie into the 3 pivots that are already out there, that are on Bank of America property. So that's a possibility for sure, because the biggest cost is gonna be if we purchase more ground, the cost of the ground and the cost of another pivot. I don't know, million?
Yeah, the cost of ground.
Astronomical number, so if we can tie into their pivot, one of those pivots does 300 acres, so we could probably land apply everything that we do through that one pivot if we wanted to.
Right.
So, after the 317, to do anything above and beyond that would require more lagoons.
Right. Well, it'd be great to have 317 houses, but I'm not sure we'll get there, right? But 120 is a good number, at least, you know, if somebody comes into, wants to, put in a subdivision preliminary plat, we would know what we have. We have availability of 120 new homes that can be built. And I think that's a good thing to know, for sure. And the lagoon capacity itself is fine, from what I understand, right? Okay. Anything else on that?
I'll add if I can.
Okay, yeah.
As far as next step, if we did wanna take the next step and explore what the design would be for that expansion, not the lagoon expansion, but just the application, of the land expansion. They recommended that we do, cause all these numbers are based off of a assumed flow rate. They recommended, that we put meters on our pumps just to see what our actual flow rate is, just to confirm their numbers before we spend any more money, designing a system expansion or whatever. So we did ask them to put together a proposal of what that would cost, because they have their own meters, that they could just install for a few weeks to gauge the actual flow.
Nice, okay.
So at some point, we might have a proposal from them to look at.
Is that a proposal within, a month, or what are we looking
Yeah,
at?
like within a week or two, they
Yeah.
could get into it.
Okay, so a couple weeks we would have a proposal for that. Okay, that's great. I think that then we can, depending on the cost of that, we could look at it at the next meeting, and approve that. Okay. Anything else? Anybody have any questions, John? Go ahead, Joyce.
So Eric, if we, the 120 houses, how much more acreage would we need?
None.
Oh,
The way we sit right now, we could add 120 houses.
okay.
That would put us
I'm
at
sorry,
absolute max, but the way we sit right now, we could add 120.
So we hit that 120 houses. That 40 acres, would that be an additional 300 houses?
No.
That's 120.
If we had the 40 acres, that would take us to 317.
Okay.
But we probably won't need it because they would allow us to use their pivots on their property. Bank of
Correct.
America.
We would just have the cost of about 4,000 feet of pipe to get to the first pivot, and it would take an upgrade of the pump system to do that as well, so we would have the cost of another pump station as well.
So do you always have a cost for the pump station?
We haven't dug into that.
Yeah, I think it's just at the stage,
Understand.
at the beginning here, because we had talked about, some people had talked about, we were at capacity, and there was kind of a scare moment there, and, we're finding that we're not that down shape, right? I see you have some papers, can you make sure everybody else gets a copy of this?
Yeah, I don't have enough, they dropped these off, and I don't have enough for everybody, so I'll
right, yeah,
I'll make
copy
copies.
after the meeting, we'll
Yeah.
copy everybody. Anything else, any other questions? Okay. Have we heard back from the music boosters on putting something on the parking lots for fundraisers at all?
Yeah, and he's not here tonight, is he? Planning and zoning, or historic preservation approved for them to put a sign in a couple of planters, which I think is a good solution, just to kind of stick it down at the planters.
Oh, yeah.
It's not in the way, but no, I haven't seen that.
Matthew, you wanna try to get a hold of
Yeah.
him, or?
I will.
Just so that we can make sure that he knows we're good with it. I don't want them to think that we're ignoring what they wanted us to do with their question. I noticed that, and just tell me if I just missed it, that, there was a Link Fitness, which is the new gym, that was gonna get approved on a business license, and then you guys tabled it to a special meeting, but then it wasn't discussed at the special meeting, and I haven't seen it since. Has that been approved yet, or?
It was approved by phone.
Oh, approved by phone?
Was it either by phone or Ken just overrode everybody and approved it?
Cause I
Okay,
didn't.
well, we can't, the mayor can't override approval.
He did, he asked myself and Mark, I know if we said yes.
Okay, well, that will have to come in front of the board again to be approved. That's not how we approve business license, and so we'll wanna make sure that we have all that paperwork, and make sure that we're happy with the paperwork that's on file with that. So we'll get that back on us, an agenda. I noticed in the meeting minutes of last month, when you had asked for a separate, Greg, when you asked for a separate bank account for the park board, that there was gonna be an ordinance to set that up. Have we done anything with that, or?
Not that I know of, it is still the desire of the park board
Right.
to have their own account, and just to be clear, their own account that's linked to the city's account. Not a separate bank or anything like that, but.
Right, do you know what that would entail, Jeff? What?
I believe you could do it by resolution, where this year we could have a motion to direct the, city's finance department, such as it is, to, transfer the funds from the park board to a separate, named account for the park board. That should be all it entails. We could do that in concert with there's gonna be an upcoming change of signatories with the elections, so we could throw that all together in one if you like.
Well, it's not on the agenda as an item to be voted upon. It was just my question after reading the minutes, second time, that something was missing on that. So let's put it on the agenda for May to pass a resolution to, transfer those funds to an account.
Sounds good, all right.
Okay?
Can that be up in minutes?
Sure.
And fitness to remove to.
I think what is allowed to happen by the ordinance is that the mayor can allow them to open without full board approval. It's like a contingent on the board of aldermen approving. I have to go back and read it for sure, but it says something about the mayor is allowed to approve any business license temporarily. So I think they're fine to be open.
Yeah, 'cause
We just need to make sure we follow up.
that's what Ken did.
Right. Okay, so we need to get that back on the agenda for full approval.
Can we do it, or can we do it tonight?
It's not on the agenda, so I disagree with voting on anything that's not on the agenda. The next thing I have, and this is the last thing I have, is I would like to see a janitor to clean our city hall. And police station bathroom, I'm sure needs cleaning, or do you have someone that's cleaning over there?
Oh, I don't know, clean those. Somebody clean. No, she did not. I know she did.
Would you like somebody to do that as well?
I don't use it, I'll be honest with you, I don't use it. Because it's one of these to be updated,
Uh-huh.
incredible.
Okay,
We have several things in there that need to be updated.
Okay.
It's, the toilet's knee high to a grasshopper, and being 6'2", I don't wanna clean that. So.
Yeah, that's true.
It's,
Well, maybe we could put that on a list of things to do.
I would rather see that than to spend
Okay.
money.
Okay. Well, we definitely need to clean City Hall, and, if, I don't have it as an agenda item, but I think that, we will work towards putting it out in the paper, and if we have a special meeting, which I'm gonna talk about later, for budget, then maybe we can put that on there to put it out for bid, in the paper, to have somebody clean. The floors, everything, it's like. Anybody have a problem with that? We're okay with that? Okay, all right. And when we do that, we will amend our budget and include a price for a janitor. That's the only thing I have, under mayor's announcements. Special event, request. Renditions Polish pottery. Christine and, Marilyn? Yeah. Anybody have any questions, for Christine or Christine?
Same as every year, in festival. Already talked to the chief of police. We're gonna close down the streets the same way we usually do.
I noticed that there was, not a signature under the West Butt Fire.
I called, I stopped by several times. She was gonna come and sign it, but she wasn't able to make it to the shop, so no, there's no signature.
Okay, I would suggest then that we approve that contingent upon, the West Butt Fire, chief, or whatever it is, her title is, signing her special event application.
Can I just have Lynn come down here and sign your copy?
Yeah, we've got the original, so she could stop by in here. I mean, every single one that's on here has not had a signature, so.
It's hard to catch busy people.
I know, yeah. So does anybody have any questions for Christine or anything? Then I would entertain a motion to approve her special event request contingent upon having the West Butt Fire approval.
I'll motion, sorry, you want to go? Okay. Motion to approve, the special event permit for rendition Polish pottery, event contingent upon West Platte Fire coming down and sign off.
A second?
I'll second.
Joyce? Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
None opposed? That's approved, thank you.
Thank you.
All school reunion that same day, so it's gonna be a busy downtown. It'll be fun. The American Legion Post 501. Anthony Layton.
I'm here to represent James.
Oh. Hi, James Lowe, how are you?
I'm good, I'm good.
Good.
What a house, what a house.
Yeah. So, does anyone have any questions about the Memorial Day ceremony? Of course, we've had this for years on Memorial Day. But they're asking for police support to help with the traffic and ensure safety of the participants of the site. And again, we would approve that contingent on West Platte Fire approving. Anyone have any questions for James? Let's entertain a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve, American Legion Post, event for, 26th of May.
Contingent.
I'm sorry, contingent upon West Platte Fire signature.
Sean's the second. All in favor? All four. Okay, we have a series of Chamber of Commerce, events. Lori Stanislav, has signed them. We've got the Bigfoot Search, we've got Apple Fest, and we have Candlelight Home Store, and the Holiday Lighting. So the first one, the Bigfoot. Anybody have any questions about that? I think, is Lori here, or is it James, or Mr. Brolin, you speaking? Oh, yeah.
It's gonna be the same as always, and, we'll start it out in the park, so it's not a traffic problem.
Okay, Mel? Anyone have any questions? Again, approval on contingent upon the fire department.
I'll make a motion to accept Bigfoot contingent upon the fire, signing of the fire chief for April 26th.
And I'll second that motion.
Jerry's second. Any discussion? All in favor? All approved. Next one is Apple Fest. Mel again.
Yeah, Apple Fest is always the first weekend of October, and, we are meeting now, just beginning to meet, but, yeah, it'll be about the same as always. Hopefully.
Hopefully a good crowd.
Nothing new
Good
to
weekend, good weather. Does anyone have any questions for Mel? And, to entertain a motion to approve contingent on the fire department's approval?
Make a motion to approve, contingent upon the signature of West Platte Fire Department.
Great, anyone second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All right, all in favor? 4-0. Next one is the Candlelight Home Store. First weekend in December. That is Mel again.
The same as always, I think they're now choosing houses to do, but, you know, it's same, it's actually one of the best fundraisers in West.
It was a tremendous success last year. They were great houses and it was really, really wonderful events last year.
Gets a lot of good company.
Yeah. Anyone have any questions? I entertain a motion to approve Candlelight Home Store contingent on the fire department's approval.
Motion to approve the special event permit for the Chambers Candlelight Home Store for 12/6, ending on 12/7, contingent upon the West Platte Fire Department signing off.
Second? Second. Sean? Any discussion? All in favor? 4-0. And last but not least, the holiday lighting, November 22nd.
Okay.
As far as I know, it's going to be down in the park again.
Yeah. Actually, I think, Kim, that this is actually, gonna be turning, I think the park board's gonna actually do the community tree lighting ceremony.
Okay.
I'm not quite sure exactly the date. If we went off what we did last year, it'd be the 21st, which is a Friday. Not the 22nd, which is a Saturday.
Okay.
And as far as I know, I mean, Ray, you can intervene if it's any different.
We haven't even, it's a little ways off. We
Yeah,
haven't,
so-
we haven't discussed it at all.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So there'll probably be more information to come
Yeah.
on the holiday tree
But
lighting
I
at the
feel,
park.
yeah, I feel like the, same format will probably be used.
Mhm.
Just
Well,
totally
I
in the
think-
park, no streets need to be shut down, or anything like that, so.
Right, right. I think that we can approve this contingent upon the fire department number one approving, but also saying that it's the same format as last year and, with more information to come. That
Including the date, maybe.
And possibly the 21st or 22nd. Okay, I'll entertain a motion for that.
I'll put forward the motion to approve the special event permit for the holiday lighting, whether it's the 21st or 22nd, considering it's the same format, and contingent upon the West Platte Fire signing off.
Okay. And Joyce is second. Is there any discussion? All in favor? 4-0. Awesome. Now there's one last one that I don't have a paper on.
I have a copy for you if you want.
Oh, that would be great, Jennifer. Oh, here we go. So you didn't fill out an application
I've got everything.
for the special permit, just the liquor?
Special event.
Oh, there we go.
Get my server with us. You want these? You want them copies?
How about that? Yeah, let's switch.
Alright, there you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so This is for the 4th of July event, right? Why don't you explain it, Jennifer, since they don't have a copy of this in their packet, or do they? Do you? Okay,
Yeah.
I was the only one that didn't have.
I sent it earlier, yeah. So it's what we always do, just happens to be on the 4th this year, so it's the, holiday, the street dance in conjunction with the fireworks display. We'll have an outdoor bar, we'll close off the 400 block. I'll get with Chief Kelly, he knows the real on extra security for that. Times will be the same. We'll have a DJ, outdoor bar, art store will be open late as well all day.
Awesome.
Everything's the same, it's just happening on the 4th this year.
On the 4th, wow.
Fourth Friday?
Yes.
The only other, well, this requires any paperwork or voting, but in the last couple of years, we've done a little kids parade, lasts about 15 seconds. Just walking 2 blocks with the kids, so that's necessarily.
I don't think that means anything.
Yeah,
That's not under our.
No,
Right.
I was just saying the same event.
Yeah,
same.
is that something that is with the 4th of July group? I mean, is the Masonic Lodge still do the 4th of July?
Yeah.
Fireworks, sorry, yes.
Just the fireworks display, okay. So, I think probably, just maybe write up something to let everybody know that that's happening. Mr. Brown?
Sure. Question, so how's that gonna work with everybody being downtown for fireworks?
So they can't, the 400 block will be blocked off. So they will just line up on the 400 block, not line up, but lawn chairs, everybody will see in that 400
Or
block.
the dance will be?
Fireworks is all concealed right there within that 400 block. It'll be barricaded on either end.
You should come in, it's fun. I was there last year, I mean, but having a dance here at the same time,
Well, it's not an official, so what we do, Alan Lintner DJs for us, so we'll have a DJ going. There's not really a set like dance floor, he's just the entertainment music kind of overall, for that block while it's going on until the fireworks start.
Okay.
We'll open our bar, our outdoor bar, and indoor bar at 6 o'clock. So we'll serve and play music from 6 to 9, 6 to 9:30, whenever they decide to shoot the fireworks off. And then we will close down our store and our outdoor bar when the fireworks start.
And that's 6 to 9, so let's see what she's saying is then
We'll
after
start
that.
setting up at 5. We like to set our outdoor bar up at 5, and we'll close between 5 and 6 on the indoor bar, just to reset, from the day. And then we'll be like 6 to 9 will be our serving time for the outdoor bar and the DJ. Alan usually continues and plays patriotic music during the firework display as well. It's not like a street.
So at 9 o'clock when the bars close, and
9:30.
that sounds funny, then could kids get into the 400 block?
Kids are welcome in the 400 block anytime.
Oh, okay.
You've been to our street dance.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like you were saying adults only for,
Oh, no.
oh, okay.
I mean, they can't drink, but they can serve them at our outdoor bar, and they can certainly dance to the music.
Well, maybe they have ID.
Well, I mean, if they got ID, and we there's no question of it.
I'm kidding. Okay, so what we need to approve is the caterer's request, because that is what approves the temporary liquor permit.
And that's what I need a letter from you guys on, so that I can get my state license, because I have to have my outdoor bar state license.
So we're approving her to have liquor under a caterer's permit, which would be the outside, out of her premises.
So they can carry open container, it'll be our cup and our liquor, that we sell only. And they can carry that just in the 400 block. Chief patrols, no one can go past that 400 block barricade on either side. They have to stay within the 400 block if they want to be outside with a drink.
And no BYOB.
And they'll be like,
So we're approving her special event permit, she already has her Lynn Johnson signature on here, and her caterer's permit. Is there any questions for Jennifer?
No.
Oh, I said no.
The chamber discussed this the other day, I didn't know the bar was gonna be there, which is fine. But we're asking that the street not be blocked until 5 o'clock or 4:30.
definitely, yeah, we won't ask for it to be blocked early.
Cause I know they're thinking of some kids games out there.
No, we won't have any of that kids game, and I'll give you the 400 block, because my insurance rider that I just turned in, it only covers my event in that 400 block. So I'm not gonna have any kids games, I'm not gonna have any, like, the parade won't be covered, liability for the parade won't be covered under our insurance, it's just that 400 block. So there won't be anything, there will be kids in the 400 block, but no kids' activities. If somebody else wanted to come in and do another special event policy or permit request for like, maybe they wanted to set those up in the 500 block or something like that, that would fall under their insurance and their permit, not under ours.
So if that is what they're planning, besides just a parade, then we would need a special event permit application.
And it would have to be in a 500.
Years past, they've done, one year they did down the tennis
One
courts.
year,
Yeah,
oh, well,
yeah,
one year they did it in the 400 block, but
Yeah, it's just they've done it down in the park before.
yes. But that would be a different group, different permit.
Okay.
Where and when is the parade?
Mr. Broman, when is the children's parade, what time?
Oh, it's pretty loose.
Yeah.
In the last couple of years, it's not the Independence Day celebration has not been on the 4th. So we did it like 5 o'clock-ish. The kids walk from Thomas and Washington to Maine, Thomas and Maine, so just the 2 blocks. And they kind of disperse into their families and it's,
Okay.
so it's pretty loose. But I coordinated I had the police and the fire there.
Yeah, the only problem with closing the street at 5 o'clock is at 5 o'clock, the crowd's already well beyond my capacity. I can't close the street at 5 because there's already people packed the street. I have to be able to close early. I know it affects every business that's there, but I have to be able to close early. If it's packed on the 4th of July, and trying to find 35 people that are driving cars that are parked in the 400 block, I would spend hours trying to get rid of them. So we need to be able to close it sooner.
What time would you prefer to close on?
Preferably noon, 1, 2 o'clock.
Okay.
2 would be very latest.
Okay.
It just, because when we have the children's parade, yeah, we're only going a short distance, but 90% of the time when we're having the children's parade, it's already packed at full capacity, and the kids are coming by, and we don't have a place to put the kids unless we push them into the crowd. It's not an ideal situation.
What do you suggest on the kids?
Mine is that we take the dead end portion of Thomas and we let the kids filter through. That's what we did last year. We pushed them that direction, that way we can keep traffic flowing. It's not just a Weston event. I can tell you the number of police officers that I know personally from Kansas City will push the 300 mark in Weston. And they bring their families over here. So it's not just, we can't just think it's just Weston. It's getting every bit as big as Apple Fest is, but people want to come for that. It's parking around town is at a premium. I've got people already burning me up on the phone asking when we're back.
Right.
So we gotta look bigger and bigger.
Okay, so, sorry, we're gonna close the street earlier because we have to take Kelly's recommendation on this.
Just
the one
speaking
that
for
was-
the businesses, they will close.
I'm sorry, what was that?
The businesses probably will close.
Well,
And I understand, but, you know, we've had days where, I think it was about 4 years ago, you mentioned one where the kids were playing, and they had, both blocks was closed all day until it got hot. Everybody went home, but the streets were
It's
still
still
blocked
closed.
all day long, and that hurt.
it sure does,
And,
yeah.
businesses, I would close early, because it was the only.
I get that. What if you put signs up there at the barriers, and some additional signage that says, our stores are open, please come ahead? I mean, something
Yeah.
to draw people down there. What ideas can you do for that?
I wouldn't be so opposed to it, and I know it's hard on a business owner, is to remind the people when they come in, hey, this block's closing, we've got to close it, and here's why we're closing it. The majority of the public understands that. We get a couple people that are gonna be, hey, they don't wanna do that, they care less. I can deal with that. It's just when they get there and they go, I'm gonna park at the end of Main Street at Market, and I'm going to O'Malley's for the rest of the day, man, I can't, that takes me an eon to find them. You know, so it's just, everybody has to get everybody involved. We're a family, we're a huge, a city that has to be a family, and we've got to all stand up and say so.
Absolutely.
It's,
I do wanna point out the irony of, I don't know why businesses would close because there's too many people on the street. Like if there's gonna be 300 or 500 people packed into that street starting at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, whatever, I would think as a business owner, if they don't figure out a way to take advantage of those extra customers, I mean, that's their decision to make. If I was a cafe, I'd be running a special meal. If I was, any of the shops, I'd be welcoming people in.
Right, give them a 10% discount because they came to the July 4th street dance.
Yeah, just
Okay,
just
well, we
because
can
you
talk
can't
more
park there
about-
doesn't mean you can't shop there.
We can talk some more about how we can help that block, Mel, and maybe come up with some solutions, but we'll close the street by 1 o'clock. And so we're making a motion to approve the Holiday Unnamed Special Event Permit application and their application for the temporary liquor permit.
Say so moved, or do you want me to repeat that?
If you have it. You have it, Dina? The motion? Okay, make the motion, please.
Okay, make the motion to approve the, Holiday on Main, event, special event request on 4th of July, also their, temporary liquor permit request.
Correct.
That's it.
A second? Joyce is second. And any further discussion by the board? Okay, then, all in favor? 4-0. Here's the original on that for you. That is it on the special events.
Thank you.
We got through those. Thank you, Jennifer, we appreciate it. All right, chamber report. That is Mel. Mel, what is your report?
Want to welcome the new board.
Thank you.
And, we were pleased. And the chamber also has a new board, Eric Olson, the Orchard. Owner of the Orchard is the new president. And Gordon is the secretary or vice president? Secretary. And William is the vice president and treasurer. And I mainly came here to give you an update on treasurer. One thing that was brought up was having a separate account for the sales tax. We do have a separate account, it all goes into there immediately, and it's only transferred out, that's if we need it, which we do before the end of the year.
For sure.
And, that's where it goes, it has its own account.
Right, that's been that way for years, right?
I'm sorry?
That's been that way for years. Is that correct? You've always had a separate account?
Yes.
Yes.
It's always, and, we have it, and if we need it somewhere, we transfer it over. And I'm the only one that does that, so you can come complain to me. But, I wanted to let everybody know, and the people of Weston, that all the money that comes to the chamber, whether from the sales tax, events that are put on, some of the events actually, the shop owners will tell you that. The last 2 years have been tough on a lot of merchants, because of the economy. And, but I want you to know that that money that we have, every penny of it, goes to the office, for maintaining the office. It goes to marketing, which we have a grant that we operate on also from the county. There's a 50-50 grant. That money has to be spent on advertising beyond 50 miles. We also use part of it to advertise within 50 miles, but that comes, we have to pay 100% of that. But beyond 50, the state share loses. And that's where, and donations.
Is that state or county that does that grant?
It's done through the county, but it comes from, pretty sure from the state.
So it's the Platte County Visitors Bureau?
Yes. What's their own purview road now, is what they're at.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and most of it's done, it's required that a lot of it is on the internet. So we go through every month, see who's getting the most hits, where they're at, what their salaries are. You can get all that information you want online, and, what the zip code is, and that's how we choose where to market. And, the marketing also, we have, I think we're out of the booklet that we put together, the guide for Weston. That is paid for by the merchants through advertising, and 100% of it. And we're getting ready to put together a new one. We hope to have it out by June 1st. The mayor will be asked to put something in there to people. And it is very popular. Last year we gave away 20,000.
That's good.
We're cutting that down to 16 because we're quickly having businesses change. And so we're trying to get the new ones in there as quickly as we can. But I wanted people to know that because I had someone come up and complain to me that there was a rumor going around that the Wazzle Fest, I think is how they pronounce it, that was held out at the orchard, that the chamber paid for it. We did not pay for it. It was done through a grant that they received, and the check was written to the chamber, and then I had to turn around my one to the committee. So, but not, it was not ever spent by the chamber. It was just a grant. The grant covered the whole thing. And it was very popular, especially when, it was very popular, especially when Channel 9 went on. And
It
there,
was just also very cold.
well, I tell you, the gal from Channel 9 got on there and she sang to the trees like everybody else. And they played that several times. But I wanted people to know, the biggest thing for the chamber right now is the bathroom. The bathroom was locked Saturday morning. We are turning the keys in. It needs work. It gets wet, floors. Since we were having a cleaning, we no longer wanted to be liable insurance-wise for anyone that got hurt in that, so we shut it. And, we would ask that we have a meeting. It's been suggested that the city go in and repair the toilets that are leaking. In Apple Fest, you had to walk in the bar to use that bathroom. And it's not been fixed. We would suggest to the city also, because I understand there's been some, kids submitted on it, Gordon knows, and, because he did one or two of them. And so, and I personally think it's best too, to see if we can camera the sewer system, because it's just not working with that many people. Something's wrong, something's clogging it up or something. And like I said, we didn't want to be responsible for it, so we have closed it. Since it is closed until it's repaired, we would suggest to the city that it rent 4 porta potties. 2 to go at the Market Main, and 2 to go where the restrooms are right now, until they're fixed. That's all I have.
All right, restrooms and begged us to do it and said they would share in the cost. And then when it came down to it, people just was like, we didn't say that. Well, I'm sorry, but I remember them saying that. And I'm happy to sit down with y'all and talk about it, but y'all have to pony up something for those restrooms.
I offered the other, 2 months ago at this meeting, that the cost is shared by the park board, which their people use it.
Right.
By the, city and the chamber.
To repairs, for the repairs, is that correct? Or for everything?
Well, we don't know what the repairs are, that's the
Yeah.
problem.
Well, we know, we've had
Just
one.
the toilets right now, they got fixed, but you go to a busy event, festival of some kind here in Weston, they really need to be checked to make sure they can hold that much sewage. I don't know why, I'm not a plumber, don't know anything
Yeah.
about it.
Do you have any idea on that, Eric?
They had it cambered twice. And both times, and after them overflowed, and both times we've had it cambered, they've said that there's nothing there to cause that issue, and that they have no idea why the toilets are back in there. I can get another camera crew over here and camera it again.
And I might add, because it was brought up to me that a couple of years ago, so many years ago, the merchants turned down letting people come to their restaurants. I don't know, at that time I was down there, I didn't know. But my wife does, and she's got the only one, and she has to clean it all the time. My wife is injured. And that's why I tell her, don't let it be back there. Plus the fact, most of these stores have merchandise that could be carried out their back door after a person goes to the bathroom. And that's why we don't do it. It isn't because we're being selfish or anything like that. It's just people will walk out the back door with something.
Greg, do you have comments on this?
I do, but I would only request that we set up a SWAT committee to solve this bathroom
A
issue.
SWAT committee?
Yeah, some sort of SWAT, just some sort of quick action, cause I know we had bids to fix, it was around $5,000 to fix broken equipment that was in there.
Right, that was the one bid I think Jonathan Truxville had given you.
Right.
And then I know I was down here,
By the purchase policy, we were maybe waiting on an additional bid or something.
I got a second bid, and I thought I gave it to Dina, but she says she didn't receive it. So
The
I'll
mayor-
have it over tonight.
the mayor said he had gotten a second bid from somebody, and it was like $8,000 from Todd Ross. Yeah, with no warranty.
I got a bid from a guy in Leavenworth, and he was a little bit higher than John. So John's the least expensive.
So if we could gather all those bids,
You'll have-
so that we could have them for our records, we can show our citizens that we did our due diligence,
Yep.
you know?
Dina will have the second one tonight.
Oh, that would be great. And then we'll find the one from Todd as well. And so I don't see why we wouldn't be able to move forward. Matter of fact, I think you guys made a motion a couple meetings ago that said we would use the bid from, as long as our bids were not over the $4,960.31, wasn't it? Then we would use that.
That's right. Yeah, we've already voted on this.
We did vote, you did vote on it, I mean, it was the last board, but they did vote on that, okay. So, okay, well, he can, share that to Gmail and email it to us. We'll get that though.
You know, as far as I know, as a board member, we've never received that information. That, some, because we've been asking to sit down for probably over a year.
Okay, well, let's proceed with what y'all made your motion, since we know that that's a low bid. So, I know I have Jonathan Truxell's or telephone number. Do you guys want me to just call call him? Okay, I'll be happy to call him. And, I have that because he works for us at the museum. And ask him to confirm his bid and we'll go forward with that. Now, going forward from that, we don't know how long it's going to take for him to do this work, because he is a pretty busy guy most of the time. So, do we want to consider paying for porta potties, 4 porta potties in town? Because we are starting to go through our busy time in Weston. Or no? I'm gonna leave it up to you guys.
I'll make a motion to do 4 porta potties. We all split the cost between chamber and the city.
I'll have to ask him, we have been paying the cost to have it cleaned for 7 months.
To have one bill.
To have it cleaned for 7 months.
The restrooms.
But we have been running the supplies, but they weren't aware that they could get the supplies. Sharp pockets, obviously, yeah.
So, but we have been putting in the back room, we used to keep supplies, is there supplies in the back room again?
Has she gotten notified now?
I'm sorry, I walked out of the house without my hearing aids.
I've been told that she can get supplies.
Yes, that, always going to, no, to Seagus, but, yeah, it doesn't matter.
So,
I think we paid for some of them, Chuck, I don't know.
No, I always build the
City,
city always come down and got toilet paper and regular cleaning, you know, like box of gloves, soap, hand soap,
us.
from us.
it
So
is,
we've been paying for supplies, you just paid for cleaning.
okay,
So I think that would mean that we're working here towards a compromise where you would pay for 2 porta potties and we would pay for 2 porta potties.
can we get the porta potties over a month until, I don't know, Eric or whatever could look at it and see? I don't know what the toilets are.
Well, he said that we've already paid for camera, twice.
Okay.
So I mean, we're not approving camera work again, because we've already seen that it's fine. But we are gonna work with Jonathan to change out those toilet rings or whatever they are and all that.
Just be honest, it is hard to find somebody to stick plate.
So I would accept the
I would
motion.
say, let us know if somebody would like to have a copy.
To contingent on the chamber approving paying for 2 porta potties. Does that seem reasonable?
But they won't meet for May.
Then they won't get them until May, unless they can.
Well, we
call
have,
it
we
out.
have the magic of the internet, we can, email, do a group email to the board and get a yay or no on the porta potty.
Okay.
And I've got, you know, address of everybody for Apple Fest and porta potties.
You wanna make the motion, Joyce?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'll make a motion that 4 porta potties be rented from now until Jonathan Truxall finishes his work. 2, the city will pay for 2, the chamber will put in for 2.
So we're making the motion contingent on the chamber paying for 2 porta potties. Got it? Do we have a second? Jerry is seconding. Is there any further discussion? Everybody ready to vote? All in favor? I'm sorry.
It'd be historic looking porta potties.
The smell will be.
As long as they don't have neon signs.
Right. All in favor? 4-0. Okay, so we're gonna do that contingent upon it, so if you guys will let Dina know if you're gonna pay for 2 porta potties, and then we will get those ordered. Okay? Anything else, Mel?
I don't think, no, but I don't think we'll have any problems with 2.
Okay. So,
Do we
by, get board buddies, but we can ask him, the chamber, and we can actually do a couple of call arounds and make sure we're getting the right price for those. Next on the agenda is Mr. Corey Weinberg.
On this item, I am park board member.
Park board member, Corey.
We approved a measure to ask the city to designate from Short Street to Market Street on the Welton Street Road, to make that into a, not exactly sure how we worded it, but to designate that as a potential park trail area for the park board to be in charge of. We would maintain it, and a part of it is also sewer easement that the city already takes care of part of it, but it was brought to our attention that none of the parks actually have been designated a park by the city in the past. So we're kind of using this as a test ground, the park board would like to take charge of that area as a potential trail area and park.
Okay, so when I read that, I had some questions, and Jeff, we may have to try to look this up. So if you're saying there's an easement there for a sewer line, but for a street, okay, but the underlying landowner is who still owns the property underneath that easement.
It's a road right away, the city owns it.
The city owns it.
Yeah, the city's last three for ways in Weston, the original rights of ways owned by the city.
Okay, because back, when we have, released, streets that used to be platted but not never used, they went back to the landowner.
They sold it, yeah. We've got the exclusive right to use that, and you can use it for any public purpose, we just can't, we can't impair the rights of the adjacent landowners in a way that's not similar to a street. So putting a trail or something through there, or treating it like a park, shouldn't be a problem. It's interesting with that Wall Street right of way, it kind of jogs a little right at,
It goes from a 40-foot right away to a 30-foot right away.
yeah, so, but it doesn't look like there's anything else on it, so we can certainly manage that as a park, which is kind of like a pedestrian road.
Well, it's 30 feet wide and 40 feet wide.
On the south side, 30 feet, on the north side.
400 blocks.
Have we talked to any of the landowners adjacent to this easement?
Corey's one of them.
I'm cool with it.
Who along?
Yeah, actually, we've just been
Yeah, I
mostly
think
cleaning it
what
up, but I think this is coming up right now because we have a grant that goes right in front of it as a trailhead. So we're just making sure that we have the ability to clean it up and take care of it. That wouldn't impede anything Eric does or, just be in coordination.
And I'll mention too, the park board has a trail network master plan, right? I mean, it's notional, it's not anything official, we don't have a funding plan to build it out or anything like that. It will largely be dependent on us getting grants and stuff like that, probably.
Right.
But, Welch Street itself, I mean, if you can picture both ends of it, it is from the south of this area that we're talking about, it becomes the Bluff Trail, which is a
Sure,
very
yeah.
popular trail for the county, not just the town. And then the extension north, it ends up, it's one of our main, Welch Street's one of our main arterial streets going all the way up to the highway, right? So, it is kind of the missing link
contracts for Water District 3 and 7. There has been a letter sent.
Yes.
Jeff sent the letter, and Jeff, you wanna tell them what's in that letter?
It basically says that, we've gone a long time, so long as before I started here, that the previous, water supply agreements have expired, we've been continuing under the old terms and the old rates, and I can't get anything out of anything. At least Water District 7, I guess, had returned a red line of the contract at one point, we got nothing out of Water District 3, so on the, spring of the, board last time, we said, we have reached our limit of our willingness to provide water without a valid water supply agreement, and we notified them to revoke all of our prior offers of the new agreement, along with the holdover provision of water, and we're gonna move to terminate the provision of water in districts 7 and 3. I put as a softener in there, we intend to terminate the provision of water 30 days after delivery of the letter. That would give the new board a chance to decide whether they want to continue full steam, or take a little different track, or soften up a little bit. I also put at the end, if they want to continue for water supply to the contract in the future, they gotta contact us. But the consensus last time was, if they do that, we're gonna treat them like somebody who shows up at the front door, because we have not gotten anything out of them sometime. Now, District 7 has an email address, I know they got that today that I sent it. District 3, I could not find anything other than a street address, and it has been sent, and I haven't heard anything back from either one.
Okay.
So I can copy you on those as well.
I've got it. You sent it. Yeah. I think Ashley and Dina sent it to me. And so my question is, okay, so the ball is rolling now, they have 30 days. So what is that 30 day, when is that 30 days up for District 7?
For 7 would have been, well,
Would be.
weekends, I would say 30 days, so our meeting next month, basically.
Okay.
Our meeting
So
next
the May
month.
meeting.
Yep. The other one, I mean, technically we give Water District 3, I suppose, 3 days for mailing. You know, if they treat us the same way they treat us forever, then I would say take up both of them at the next meeting, and then you can decide whether you actually want to terminate the supply. That gives me time to figure out, what does it actually entail? Is it just turn off the supply? I mean, I've not done that before anywhere. Normally, water districts talk.
We've never, I don't know how it works with the water district. I know if the city refuses somebody water, we can't stop them from drawing a well.
Yeah.
We don't have to give anybody water.
Yeah.
So I assume it's the same for a district.
And we just have, what does our distribution look like for that? Is it just a connection where we've got a valve we can just turn off? Okay, well, I mean, I will double check and see if anybody else has done that, but maybe if they read the paper that we're just gonna turn the valve at some point.
So my question is that something that this board is prepared to do? You know, we're giving them 30 days. I mean, these are hundreds of citizens, people with babies, people with old people. You know, people need oxygen and they have need a water supply for their oxygen. Is this something that you are truly prepared to continue doing?
No, I do not want to turn off their water. That is ridiculous. This is our family and friends out there. I had,
Joyce, that was a motion made. You made a voted no, but the rest of them voted yes, and that's why the letter was sent.
I gave, I know,
Yeah.
Greg, did you get one in your box, the contract? You should have
Yes,
gotten one.
the one that was returned, or recently here.
And then the former alderman, because I got the contract from
Saturday.
Malin?
Melanie, Jake Melanie.
Yes.
Jake Malin.
Yes. Because it was my understanding that Jeff did not have a contract for the water districts.
No, we sent, they got that, there's been one out for a while, we got returns, red lines from District 7, never had anything from District 3. So we went back and forth on the District 7 stuff, I've got a.
And recently.
The one in,
Yeah, November of 24 was our last edits to the purchase agreements for 7 and 3. And so they've had it since about then.
this one was, is District 3.
Yep.
The one I got from Jake, he is District 7, but, we figured they would both read the same, basically.
Sure.
And so, in the email that Dina sent for me, I said, yes, we've got to get this ball rolling, we have to, I wanted them to read the contract, make any notes that anything they wanna change, anything they agree with. And then, to me, we should let them see, then we would type in our changes, give it back to the districts, let them look at it with the changes that we have put in, and then let them, this is gonna take months. It's
I wanna
already
stop you right
taken
there,
months.
Joyce, because how long has this been going on? We have sent them, starting when I was here, we were sending them new contracts and asking them to review them and not hearing back from them. And it's been going on since about 2015 to 16, I don't know, it's been a long time since their contracts have expired, and they have not replied to contracts that we have sent them. And yeah, it takes a long time, but not that many years. And so,
Right, but I'm saying, what I'm thinking of, this is still gonna take months, because they're gonna have their attorneys read the contract, our attorney's gonna have to read it, we're all gonna have to come to a decision on.
again, and again, and again,
That,
and again, and again, and again. That has been done multiple times. I'm not saying we should turn their water off. I'm just saying that, yes, we have worked with these guys multiple times on contracts. And it's disappointing that we can't get, a reply, a decent reply, a reply that makes sense, because it's, like you said, it's family and friends.
Can I ask,
So I understand, you say no. Jerry?
can I ask, how many residents does Water District 3 service?
You know, my, or,
800-ish.
About 800-ish
Plus
Meters.
meters. Okay, what about District 7?
about the same or more?
Yeah, now they're more.
Yeah, cause they use 6 million or so gallons a month.
Best guess would be 1,500 meters.
1,500.
Being a new board, we just started, and say, yeah, you put this off. We're gonna do 90 days, here's the letter. We're gonna do 60 days, we mean it. 30 days, we're really doing it. Would that be,
I mean, that's basically, the previous board made the motion to send that letter for 30-day notice, and that letter has now gone out. And so the motion has already been done before us. We're just now the ones that have been, stuck with what's gonna happen, with the consequences of the letter. So, that's why I'm asking each of you, is this something that you are prepared to do?
So the letter is trying to also get them to the table, which they have refused to come to the table, is that correct?
Well, 7 has redlined a contract back to Jeff, and you, I'm
That was
assuming,
December, and we turned around, December, and we got, I made the comments to the mayor then mayor on that, and we returned those comments back to 7 and heard nothing since from what I've been told. They don't contact me directly, the red lines we're going through either the mayor or, Aldermen. And 3, as far as I'm aware, has never responded at all.
May I add something?
Yes.
Conversation. We're running about 15, 16 hours a day right now. We're not even to our busiest season. 7 has confirmed through the previous mayor that the power plant has a leak. They're gonna plan on sending them a letter to cease their service if they don't get it fixed. That was a month ago. Nothing's happened. He confirmed that he had 3 to 5, I don't remember how many leaks he had out in his district, District 7, that he had not attended to, and we have no leverage. We can't, we can't get threatened with closing the valve. The current contract that they were on 10 years ago, whatever it was, has a rate chart where if they use more than their allotted amount per month, then we bill them. I don't think we've ever billed them for anything over usage, probably.
I didn't remember that being in the contract.
Joyce, she pointed out that it was on there. I haven't seen the
The
contract.
original contract? Because we
Whatever
were
this
dealing
is.
with the original
Yeah.
contract from the 1990s.
No, whatever this contract is, the last contract we had with them.
Was that signed by anybody or?
I think
They're working on it, they're working on it.
Yeah.
It's not
No,
approved.
they refused to sign them.
Well, then it's not valid. This
Right, I'm just
contract
saying
is
it
not
was
valid.
on there, we have no leverage, we can't do it.
So for any water used in excess of the maximum quantity, and then each district had a maximum quantity. District shall pay a surcharge of 10 cents per 1,000 gallons over the regular rate if the overage was authorized by the city pursuant to this section, or 25 cents per 1,000 gallons for any excess water that was not so authorized.
So that would be something, if they sign that contract and we all agree on that contract, that we could do. We can't do that now because we don't have a contract with them. But, you know, my point is just trying to figure out if you guys are even gonna be willing to do this. Because I have to do what you tell me to. I'm the mayor and it's gonna be on my shoulders if I turn this water off.
Yeah.
So you tell me if you're willing to do it, right?
I'm not willing to turn their water off, I'm willing to charge, I mean, if the old contract's void at this point, right?
It's expired.
It's expired. So,
And it didn't have that line in there that says, we'll just carry on.
Well, what we have been doing, and make sure you get this in the paper, out of good faith to the customers, the council the previous council had said, let's keep providing it under the existing terms to hold over until we get a new agreement. What we found from that is that we've not been able to secure the agreement. And it is clear that our sale to, because both of the water service supply districts are non-residents, even though we might have residents in those districts, that those are voluntary contract, free of official regulation, and it's just like, it's a free contract, we have the obligation to provide them water. So it is legal to turn them off. I'm not suggesting that we do that, but that may be something that you have to consider in order to get them to the table. They have to understand that we could do that. It seems from my perspective right now that they are relying upon the fact that we're not going to shut off our neighbors to just keep going on really low rates at really favorable terms, which doesn't benefit the city. It punishes us for what they're doing.
yeah, and I wanted to be, also like in the minutes that, we don't have these numbers, but I believe truly that if we do an analysis, we're gonna find that the citizens of Weston have been picking up the slack in our water costs. Just so far as we've known, since I've been on the board within the past couple of years, our cost of line has doubled, just all time, and that's just the start of a pretty long list of, and by us not spreading that cost out to all of our customers, the residents of Weston, I think we're
Carrying the load.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, we
Well,
are subsidizing more.
You know, bad on us if we haven't increased their rates, you know, in so many years when costs have been going up. But if we're not willing to turn their water off completely, then I say we look at an ordinance next month that increases their water without any thought.
So do we have those figures on what it would go? What's the current rate right now they're being charged underneath their last contract? What's the current?
Less than $3 a thousand.
Three's over.
Or three's a little over three.
Okay,
7 is under 3.
okay, all right.
One was like 285, wasn't it, Stephen?
283 is 285, that was 7.
So
Okay.
what's the proposed increase? Do we
Well,
have that?
pull those rates and get the exact rates. We have a, we have a rate, ordinance, we have a passive ordinance to increase the rate.
Okay.
So let's look at those.
Okay.
And, do you wanna double it? Do you wanna add 50 cents per 1,000 gallons? Do you wanna add 75 cents per 1,000 gallons? I mean, look at this, at this point, I'm saying an arbitrary number because we don't have a water rate study yet. I think we've got it signed, but I'm not sure we have had anything back from the guy, right? Stephen, do you know if we've gotten a study or anything yet?
Have we got it back yet? No, I've got to finish, I'm finishing up a list of the 20-year replacement schedule.
Oh, so we haven't started yet?
Oh, he started,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Yes, Eric.
So District 4, who is Platte City to
Yeah, sure.
Smithville,
Bring it up.
they pay, I don't know the exact amount, but somewhere around $5 a thousand from Kansas City.
Mhm.
Kansas City's, I mean, our costs, although much less, our costs have to be comparable
Mhm.
to Kansas City. They're our line softening water plant.
Mhm.
So they're getting $5 a thousand.
Mayor, if I could suggest,
Yes.
maybe you can pass something that says that for contracts with any water supply district for which we don't have a valid contract in force, that we have the ability to impose like a penalty term on it during the period of negotiations, so you can decide not to if you don't want to, but you can also decide, yeah, we're gonna throw another, I don't know, you can make it a percentage, you could say 50% more, you could say $1 more per whatever rate, just something that authorizes us to come up with a number, because maybe that's the only way to get them to come to the table, is if we're able to actually.
Mhm. So you're saying, you're suggesting pass an ordinance that says that we're able to do that?
As opposed
Rather
to
than just
as
increase?
opposed to raising the rate, maybe give us a range, and say we can, the board for water supply districts who we don't have a current valid contract with, that we can, during a period of holdover, we can increase the last contracted rate by, what sounds good, I can throw a few in 50% or something, maybe, if the other people are $5 or close to $5, maybe we could go $1 on that, just to, I mean, until the rate's settled down. Yeah.
If we're at 30,
But we would still have to pass an ordinance with the new rate.
I would say you pass that, then you can just on a regular motion say,
Because there's an ordinance now that says we're charging them this.
Yeah, and then if we say we're charging a penalty, it's like if we say you owe us $100 for water
It's
bill.
not,
But if you don't pay it by this date, it's 10%, basically say we're charging, give us the ability to do that.
okay.
And I can throw that together so that you have the ability to pull that on.
That would be great.
Pull it off, more quickly, if it comes to the table.
Right.
So
we're calling it a penalty and
I gotta see,
attitude.
I think we're gonna call it a penalty.
Okay,
I'll see.
so you work on that.
Yes.
And, when we talk about a special meeting, maybe we can give you a date we need that by.
Okay.
Okay, what else about this? So,
Going back to the letter that was sent, do we need to do anything with that since we're looking at doing an ordinance next month? What was
They got it saying that it was 30 days, so they're expecting us to act by it. I said we were moving, I didn't say we absolutely were shutting it off. We were, what do I call it here? I think it says we're gonna move to terminate the water supply within 30 days. So that gives us some middle room. What we could do is pass some sort of a interim rate or something and say, in lieu of shutting off your water, until we get a valid contract negotiated, we're gonna charge this.
okay, so with a special meeting, say next week or something, then we would pass an ordinance such as that. And if we do not hear from them by the May meeting, we will have that, a discussion and a motion to increase by the penalty amount that we have on the plate. I guess the question is for y'all, what penalty are we talking about? How much do you wanna raise it? So if they're paying $3.08 now, then 50% would be $1.50 increase. So you wanna make it 50%, you wanna make it 40, 30, 20, 10,
Make it progressive.
okay? Start high, come low, start low, go high.
I don't think they think we're serious. We've
Yeah.
been doing this so long. Each month we open up 10%. I'll get their customers to.
Okay?
So we gotta start some, I
Yeah.
think we gotta start at 50.
I think so.
Because if we start at 10, then that's
No.
not enough
I
incentive.
think starting at 50 would be good.
Okay?
So do you want me to write that as the max, or you want to say we could offer, we could pass I keep calling it a penalty, not very not be a penalty, but a negotiation rate that we can say up to 100% more, and you can choose to do 50 if you want, but it gives you some.
Okay. Yeah, up to 100%, and then if y'all decide next month you wanna do 40% or 30 or 20, you could do that.
Just by regular motion.
Just by regular motion.
We move to alter that rate to.
Right.
You know, I think our hands are being forced right now based upon this going on for so long, okay? And as elected officials trying to be good stewards of the resources that we're entrusted with and making sure that the citizens of Weston are treated just as fair, I think this is a good move.
Yes. Does everybody agree with that?
Yes.
I'm not asking for a motion because, you know, we're just directing Chad to do that, okay? Any other questions or comments on that, you guys, or anything? All right, the next thing says Antoinette Park. So that's another question, what, I mean, I understand that this is for access down to the Fiddler's Ridge substation or lift station? What is it for?
There,
Oh, Antoinette Park is the park.
it is, but
Gosh,
Oh,
hang on
Antoinette
just a
Park.
minute, we'll let everybody get out. Be careful, mother.
Yes, Mayor. There's your honor.
First lady, first mother. Okay, I'm sorry, yes,
So
okay,
the
now.
Antoinette Park line item is, the board was looking at dividing up Antoinette Park and selling to adjoining properties to take Antoinette Park out of city ownership,
Okay,
right? Isn't that what that line
That is
item
right,
was?
yeah. About 2 years ago, exactly, the park board voted, not that this is official, but the park board voted to gift Antoinette Park back to the city. Just because there's no great, it's landlocked, there's not great access easement to it, if that makes sense. And so, yeah, kind of gave it back to the city, and then the city just said they're distracted. What we've discussed, I mean, this has been going on for a couple years now. What we've discussed since then, there's a new group of people that were on park board that were strongly in favor of giving it to the city are no longer on park board. And the new park board, is open to entertaining, taking it back potentially. I think another good, part of that discussion too was when that subdivision was approved, they got approved, you'll remember this, but they got approved for smaller lot sizes. So as long as there was a green space maintained, right? So this whole concept of dividing it up and selling it off to the landowners, who knows what they would end up doing with it, might not meet the intention of the original, planning of that subdivision, so.
right, when they platted the subdivision, it was a special use type A subdivision. And in order to get the smaller setbacks, smaller lots, the setbacks is 10 feet instead of what it would have been for a regular R2, they had to have so much green space. But then, of course, flash forward, you know, the guy would belly up, and then Antoinette passed away, and the city ultimately decided to purchase it or pay for some reason to get the property. But what if we sent a letter to all of the property owners in Fiddler's Ridge, asking them if they would like the property and as an HOA. And I don't know, I'm not sure that we need to sell it back to an HOA at this point. I mean, I think we need to give it back to an HOA so that it'll be out of our hands. I don't know, is that legal that we could do that?
Sure.
Or sell them for $1 or?
Our
I mean, I
board
don't-
would, yes.
Huh?
Our board would surely vote yes.
I think it just,
The,
I think it's worth checking into to just get it out of our hands. And we would have to make sure that there are, that our lift station and everything, I think it is there. But the problem is there's also a water runoff retention pond there that would be their responsibility.
So do they currently have an HOA there?
No, I don't believe so.
And the water dam you're talking about is broken.
Yeah.
It's the crack, there's the tube that runs through that to my property is come apart.
Okay?
And we butt up to this part.
So maybe that has to be repaired or something before we ask them to take it over again? Or take it over, period? I don't know. What do you suggest, people?
yeah, I'll just mention, just because it's part of the discussion, for the entire picture. The next line item, I'm not suggesting we move on, but the next line item is tied to this line item in the sense that, part of the reason Park Board's not currently interested in that parcel is because it is landlocked, right? If we were to, there is one lot still open at the southwest corner of that development, that if the city were to buy that, and we are already looking at that potentially as a access easement for emergency egress. That was something the board had decided to pursue a couple years ago, or to at least keep. And we had ordered that, I don't know where we're at in that process, but we had approved for an appraisal to be done, so that we would know if we took it by eminent domain, because the current owner up there, the developer, wasn't real interested in selling it at what we thought was a fair price. But I think it's somewhere in the works, if that's not started yet, we're supposed to be getting an appraisal on that parcel.
I talked to him.
Okay.
Steve talked to him. Who's doing the appraisal? Okay. Well, I hate the idea of using a perfectly good lot that a home can be built on for a road easement to get to the lift station, when we could probably get there from another direction. Maybe? Chuck? Why?
I've asked before, you all, to buy part of it.
To buy a way to get back?
No,
I don't.
to buy the ground to build another building on, so.
Who built a building?
Me, us.
Well, we're not gonna buy land for you to build a building on.
No,
No, to buy the park.
Oh, it
We've
was by
asked-
the park.
Yes, we've asked before.
Not the whole thing.
Well, if we repair that, line and everything, I mean, surely there's a compromise here, Chuck, that we can look towards, that we can get access to our lift station, through you, in some fashion. Because we really want that space for green space. I mean, it should be, followed through for this subdivision to have the green space.
I would agree with that. On that lot, back to that, yeah, another home is great. One of the ideas on the lot, as far as purchasing it, if it is $60,000-$70,000, what's that?
For a road to get.
Well, it's not a road getting to the lift station. It's an emergency easement access.
Yeah.
There's only one way in and out of Fiddler's Ridge. There's supposed to be two, but what was platted as the emergency easement access is not viable.
Yeah,
Right,
it's
I
potentially-
absolutely remember that.
It's potentially for.
Tiles in the grass in the home, yes,
So
it's a terrible idea.
the discussion was an emergency easement down through that lot.
But I think we could pursue potentially a few different avenues concurrently. We could send out that letter, you know, just so we could have an idea of what the interest is amongst the residents, because if they're not, we could continue seeing, make sure this appraisal gets done so that we would know what number we're looking at there, right?
Well, if it's in the works. So, what are y'all thinking? Joyce? I just hate to spend money for a lot, especially the $60,000. When, I mean, I think that we can work with Chuck. We have bought things from Chuck, given Chuck, the city has supported your business for years. I mean, surely you can work with us on a little road to get up to our lift station.
That's not yet. We have an access easement to the lift station.
But really,
That's already platted in.
we don't have to have a second entrance
Right, that's.
to that subdivision. We approved the subdivision without a second entry.
We did. But the board, whenever that was, a year ago or a year and a half ago, the board approved that we did want to pursue a second entrance, which is why we ordered the appraisal.
Greg, wasn't it, we were just gonna call it an emergency work, I mean, it wasn't where people were gonna be able to
No, yeah,
drive
be used
in
by
and out. It's-
emergency
if a
vehicles
fire
only.
occurred, there's only, like we said, there's only one way off of Key Highway to get in there. So for emergency vehicles, we wanted access into Hiller's Ridge. Not for the residents to use, but have it be emergency.
So what would happen with the rest of the lot?
Well, that's, park board, potentially. If it's the whole lot, I mean, the road only takes up, you know, a certain portion of it or whatever. Fiddler's Ridge is a neighborhood that we don't have a pocket park in. And one of the park board goals is we've got this coverage map. Citadel, Somerset is the other area of town that we don't have a pocket park. Every other place in town, you can walk to a park within 5 minutes. It's the, kind of the metric there.
Well, you know, if they would have taken the green space, they could have made it Walmart.
Well, we don't have access to it.
What?
There's no way to get to it.
Right, yeah. That's true. Okay, so do we just continue on with this then? These two items. Antoinette, Fiddler's Ridge. Are these the thing, is this what we wanna do as a new board? We've got 2 new people here. Wanna make sure that they understand what's going on with it, and if that's what we wanna do. Do we wanna send a letter to residents to say, we would like you to take over this as a green space?
I'm okay with that. Keep it in a green space. Let's see if the residents will take it over.
Then they can control their own destiny with what they do with it to a certain extent. Right?
Can we word it in there, they can make it their own mark? If we give it to them, they make it work.
I mean, they're gonna have to form a HOA, and, they'll have to form it because they'll have to have some way to maintain it, mow it, all
So
that
would
stuff.
that be in the letter as well?
That will have to be in the letter, and also the fact that there is a, water retention pond there. And they would have to maintain that.
So would we be giving them a right for emergency access?
So that's number 2.
So
Number 2
necessarily,
is
yeah.
the access, and if that's what you still wanna do, then we'll proceed forward with getting that.
I think let's at least see what the.
See what the home.
I think we're already on the hook
Okay.
for paying a bill for, if the appraisal's already started, we're gonna be paying some money, right? Let's see what the number is.
Jeff, where would that emergency access be?
Well, as I recall, ideally, the fire department wanted one off of 45, or one off of 45 and one off of P, which just wasn't going to work. So the only viable unbuilt lot that I understood was this one sort of in the northwest corner, which if you look at it, ground base, Yeah, there's one right here too, I think we talked about that one of the southwest corners, well, I thought they were gonna try and praise the one up here, because the one down on the south side was so steep, we really couldn't do much with it. They were saying the fire department couldn't really get up, you know, even unless it was a paved street, you really couldn't get a fire department truck up there, if you just put those grass grids or whatever they are.
It must be a misunderstanding, because that's not my recollection. I thought we had kind of disqualified the ones up by the north end, because if that doesn't help anything at all, if there's,
No.
the whole point of this is if there's an accident.
Do
Yeah,
you know what lot we asked for a price on?
well, that was where we kind of left it, was they were gonna get an appraisal for a piece of property, and then whatever you guys decided, and then we would, from there, that's the first step in the combination action, is you have to decide whether you're gonna offer something based upon that appraisal. And once you do that, we can start into the combination process if we can't negotiate an agreeable sale with the property owner. So I'm not sure which one we're doing.
Yes, either.
Okay.
When we did a walkthrough out there, and I think it's Chuck's building, so like, there's a little road that goes in around behind it, and then you're just going to, because it's not, the grade is not as bad as it was over on Key Highway side. And so it would be easy then to, like I said, there's kind of a semi-road right there already behind that building, and then just go straight north then.
But you would have to have Chuck's permission to be on that road.
And
Right.
we looked at,
Or we could swap, part of the land that he wants.
yeah, I think, yeah, we were gonna do,
Okay, so maybe a couple of us can sit down and look at that whole thing and then visit with Chuck. Would you be willing to sit down with us and look at that?
Brother,
I'm sorry?
I have to talk to my brother.
Yes,
Maybe.
that would be great. All right, is there any other discussion on that? I hate to, kind of a long meeting,
There is a,
it's the first one here, but.
on that, and it's periphery to that, there is a collapsed storm drain line on Chuck's property. That's the outlet for, if I understand correctly, the outlet for the retention pond. So from a legal standpoint, is that on us?
Well, it's currently on us because it's on our property, we own that property.
If we own it yet, the owner is responsible for returning the protection pond back to the as-designed status.
So what would that take, Eric, to fix that collapsed?
Two, I mean, it's no concrete tube. Probably the easiest would be just dig it up and replace it with PVC.
Has it silted in pretty good over there, or is the retention
The-
pond still have its?
The pond itself, yes, is, I can't even take a guess at how much dirt would have to be pushed out of that to actually be a pond.
So, we would probably have to get some bids on, probably better to just get bids on doing the whole work. Cleaning out the retention pond and fixing the pipe at the same time. Would that be a fair statement? Be easier to do than you guys doing it?
It would definitely be easier that way. I mean, we don't have the equipment or the manpower to do what would be dozer work of cleaning that pond out. The tube, we can do, but it's more work for us because we have small equipment, as opposed to a company that comes in with monstrous stuff.
All right, so is that what we wanna do? Do we wanna put this work out for bid? To repair the retention pond and the tube?
Could we have a scope of work ready by the special meeting and review it and then put it out to bid? Like we did?
Definitely, we would need a scope. Do you wanna do that?
The scope? I could work,
He's looking at Eric.
I could work with Eric. I mean, Eric, he knows far more than I do about drain.
I mean, I would be curious to see if we have as-built from back then to see elevations and, you know, I know that probably 2 feet below the floor of the pond now. So just to get the pond back to level with the overflow tube, you're talking at least 2 foot of dirt. And so it probably needs 3 or 4 foot of dirt actually pushed out of it to get it back to a retention pond.
Well, I think if we're gonna proceed with asking the Fiddler's Ridge, residents to take it over, that we would want it fixed. And it's gonna need fixed anyway, because it's ruining some property on Chuck's property. Right? Flooding his property?
Well, Floyd's the one that put those tubes in originally, and that was just a hauler up through there, because Fiddler's Ridge wasn't there.
Right.
So Floyd got permission to tie into MoDOT's tube that goes under the highway, and he filled that hauler in because he wanted more parking lot. We, the city, the developer, whoever, built the pond, the dam, and all that. Whether that pond and dam is there or not, the number of gallons going down that hauler are the same. So, I mean, a tube separation is faulty installation. That's what causes tube separation.
Yeah.
It's not how much water goes through it.
So, is Floyd still in business?
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Something tells me no.
Something tells me he's different. Okay, so that's how we're gonna proceed, get some bids, get a scope of work. Is everybody on the same page?
I think so.
Okay, so we wanna make a motion that we, move towards, writing our scope of work and placing this project out for bid, which let's call the Fiddler's Ridge retention pond repair project. Who would like to make that motion?
I will. Make a motion to, develop a scope of work for the repair of Fiddler's Ridge retention pond, to be reviewed at our next meeting, and then hopefully place that for bid.
Okay. I'll second. Joyce, any further discussion? Sean, are you good with this? You haven't said much?
No, I'm taking it in.
Okay.
We're gonna talk about it again.
Oh, yeah, we're gonna get the scope of work and see what, you know, we're gonna, how many feet and all that stuff, and we'll go from there. Okay, so we have a motion, a second, is all in favor? 4-0. All right, the water rate study, we kinda already hit on that, we don't really have an update, we still have things that we need to give to the gentleman who's doing the study before we get answers, right? Stephen, is that correct?
Yeah, I don't know how far Dean's got, I just got that one piece, I think. I wanna do it right, we kind of rushed it forward. Wanna make sure inflation and all that's added, correctly, 'cause it's a 20-year.
Okay.
plan, so.
Right. So the next thing is, audit from Accounting Solutions, sorry. So, from what I understand, talking to Dina, she has not been able to get a hold of this company that we contracted to, do our audit.
I haven't either, and I've called, I'm not exaggerating, but I've called them 30 times over the past 3 months.
So, my big question is, have we paid them any money?
That's my So, can we review that contract with them and start over? I mean, if we can't get somebody to do an audit that we've contracted with, I mean, I know it's tax season, but they should at least answer their phone and talk to us about it.
So we haven't had an audit in
4 years.
4 years.
This would actually make 5. 2020, 22, 21, 22, 23, 24, 5 years. Okay.
You wanna give them a deadline, or you just wanna vote to?
I say, vote to
how long's this been?
Since what part?
Since they were given authorization from the board to do this
I
audit?
think we did that in either November or December meeting, because I know the ordinance we passed said that they planned on starting first week of December, or something like that, so. I mean, I know we've been talking about it for years before that, but yeah, so it's been 4 months at least.
So can we make that motion now, Jeff?
Sure, if you wanna move to direct me to, notify the cancellation of the contract, provided that we've got, legal justification for that, which I think we do, I'll double check the contract.
Okay.
I can do it for you.
So the motion will be to direct Jeff to check the contract and terminate the contract with Accounting Solutions.
I will make that motion. So I'm gonna make a motion that we give Jeff authorization to check the contract was terminated, based upon failure to comply with our contract.
Okay, Sean, seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor? 4-0. Whitney Weber summary of findings. Is this the thing that was, is this Tammy's person? Okay. So I talked to Tammy, last week about this girl that's been helping her with, what, can you think about this, Jeff?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you want the background of it?
Yeah, just so that everybody understands this Whitney Weber thing.
Upon parting ways with the previous court clerk, we found the cleanup found that there was a lot of, cleanup work to do to get the accounts straight and to make sure we had everything that we needed for various state reports for the court, which the previous council last month, I think, has decided to send it back to Platte County, to the circuit court. But in the interim, we're trying to clean this up. They hired Whitney Weber, who's an experienced court clerk and one of the officers of the Court Clerks Association, to go through that and help with the process with our software. She's been able to do that, from what I understand, and the board wanted a final report from her that sort of advised us of what she found, because there's a difference between what her initial thoughts were, and then, as we understand, what she found when she did the full, by the end of her term. And the board wanted some report as to how things changed and what the results were, probably the best way to put it. I've contacted her, I think Tammy has as well, I don't know if she has an update, but there was some problem for some reason getting a final report out of her. I don't know exactly what that was.
That's what I understand. That she is not, again, we have these people who are not communicating very well with the city. But Tammy was not happy with, I think, her overall lack of communication and with her, trying to get a hold of her.
I'm gonna offer one slightly different perspective on this,
Okay.
because I talked to her. She can't, just in summary, and I can't even speak to the details, because I can't remember, I think she was telling me, but she can't finish her report until we do an audit, because there are pieces she needs to look at within the financial side of things, to find out if it's there or not there, or where it is, before she can definitively say, here's my findings.
And I think one part of that, because there was a lot of stuff which had not been deposited or accounted for when the previous person left and when we started, and it had to be accounted for. Is that what I would say?
Yeah, I think that's spot on, exactly. She found, she found things that had been paid, that were not entered into the system, and then she found stuff that was entered into the system that didn't have receipts, so there was, she said the audit is just the critical item we need to complete.
Because, any audit that we've ever done has never looked at court. Any audit that we've done, there's special audits for municipal court, and there's when I first started, they told me that they audit every municipal court every 7 years. I never had an audit the whole time I was here. And, the regular audit has never looked at court at all.
Didn't you guys ask that that be included with the, when we did, because of what had happened? Because when the accounting services or the solutions, wasn't that after we had started this process? I'm trying to remember what.
It was, timing wise, exactly, I don't know if we included that or not.
Yeah, because that, and maybe that's a disconnect, but if she needs an audit to do it, I mean, I think it would, I think if you guys wanted an audit of the court system to figure out where we're at, I don't think that would be a bad idea.
Could that be done by the Missouri Department of Revenue or by OSCA versus a private CPA firm? Because, you know, I think that that's kind of a specialized audit. You're talking about monies that are going right into the system to,
Yes, one of the purposes of an audit will be to find if there's anything we need to tell Oscar about. And probably the rest of that conversation we ought to have closed, if you want to have that, just.
okay,
The people that have been here for longer, do you think that's fair, if we're gonna go into 20, probably should go closed?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not gonna put the money off, I just don't want.
no, I understand, but I did not include a generic, we're going to close session for any reason that might come up in the meeting on there. No, I don't think we did. I think we took it off. I think all I have is personnel. So if we want to make a motion, because I think we can go into closed session for emergency purposes, if you feel like this is an emergency that we need to talk about. What would it be? It's not a contract.
Well, it certainly is related to the hiring, firing, and disciplining of an employee.
Okay.
It's the previous hiring, firing, or disciplining of an employee.
Okay.
So I think that would fit. That is the reason, to be clear, that's the reason for my, it's much more public.
Gotcha. Sounds good. That's what we'll do then. All right, we'll move on from that. We'll talk about that in a closed session. Budget carryover. So I came down and looked at the budget with Dina, and we have carryover numbers. These are printed out of the Encode Tyler Technologies. You don't have anything in your packets for it. She does have those, and I've asked her to put them on a spreadsheet for each of the funds, showing what the carryover was at the end of December, and then we'll add the income for 2025. We'll take out the expense for 2025, and that will leave your projected income or your projected fund balance for going into 2026. And I'm assuming you haven't probably got to that yet. So we're working on that this week to where we can look at it and see what the carryover numbers are, because I know that that's something you guys need to see. What money do we have right now in the general fund at the end of 2024? And what we're gonna add to it. The other problem was in the Encode, for some reason, a couple of different numbers went in as negative numbers. So like the 280,000 1% sales tax somehow got in there as a negative. So instead of showing the total income as, 280,000 plus all the rest of them, it was showing it at 126,000. No, that is not correct. It has to be 430. There was 3 different line items that somehow the computer took them as negatives instead of positives. So Encode gave her the runaround several times. And did you get with them today at all? Yeah, they're very difficult. I've seen it. I saw it. It is not easy to get these people to work with you on making these changes. And when it's a brand new system, we're trying to do it. I gave her a couple of ideas to try. Nothing would change that to a positive number. So
I think, the negative, because I looked at it the other day and seen, what was that one we looked at the end of the sales tax? It's a negative because we have have not collected that whole amount, your income is a credit until you collect that.
Then all of those numbers need to be a credit then. Because if you look at your budget, you've got 2 credits and then you've got all the numbers of positive numbers in your income lines.
Okay, so give me an example of,
Okay.
it wasn't.
Yeah, hang on just a second. I think I have it, I think I have it right here. Oh, sorry.
But are the accounts that we haven't, we don't get the full amount at one time?
I left my copy with her to work on, but these first 2 were in there as negatives. And this, something down here, I think it was interest maybe, was in at 65,000 as a negative. All these numbers were positive. These 2 numbers and this number were negatives. So in this, right here, instead of 1,032,000 or 22, it said 120 some thousand dollars. Way off. Way off.
And that's why we have the different columns. There's a budget column.
Right.
And then there's an activity column that is the actual expense for that
But this
budget.
is in the budget column.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah,
That's
it
what
was
I'm
in the
saying.
budget column.
So the railroad utility tax, do we take that all at one time?
It doesn't matter, this is the budget. This is your budget number. If you're budgeting that you're gonna get 13,000, so in your budget, it shows 13,000.
Can I see that?
Oh, sure, you haven't seen it? This is just, I mean, these are all the copies I've been to at every meeting. But we're gonna fix it, and we're gonna fix it, and we're gonna get it passed, and we're gonna get it passed soon. So, when do you wanna do a special budget meeting? I don't think we have time to do it by Wednesday. We have Friday, which is the 18th. And we have, sorry, what?
Can I ask a quick
Oh, yes,
question?
Gordon.
So, the first thing you said, did you get the fund balances for each fund, or was that just based on the, total bank account and you were gonna do
No, she shows the fund balance for each fund. She
Okay.
has a report that printed out the fund balance for each fund at the end of 2024.
Okay, thank you.
Friday, Good Friday.
And I'm gonna be going out of town.
Okay, so next Tuesday, the 22nd.
I'm open.
Okay, what about you, Dina? Now, I don't think that, our department heads would have to be at that meeting. I mean, I think we're not making any changes. We're just putting the numbers correctly in the computer and getting them printed up. So I don't think you all will have to be here, to do that, to pass it. Unless you just want to
Have
cheer
you already
me
told
on.
that I am to see you here?
What'd you say?
I told you I am to see you here.
No, you haven't, but thank you.
Are we looking at 5:30?
I hate 5:30 meetings.
Is it too soon or too late?
As my husband gets home, I like to see him and give him food and, things like this. So, I like 6 o'clock, Give yourself a break from what you've been doing all day and go home and don't care, have a drink or something.
Christina, do you like using software? Do you like this accounting software?
I think that if we have training that we need, it's made for municipalities, so every municipality around here uses it. So, I mean, I think that, yeah, we just need training, and I think it would be fine.
And we'll talk about that later. We can't do everything in one night. But we can certainly talk about that passing this under. Okay, April 22nd, Tuesday, April 22nd at 6 p.m.
Okay, special budget meeting.
Special budget meeting, and we'll also put these special things on here that we have talked about. I've got a list going some stars by it. If we can get to scope by then, put that on there, and a couple other things. It'll be on on the agenda.
Okay.
All right, here you go. Here it is. The last one, chamber contract. So with three new people here, me, Jerry, John, I want all of y'all to look at these contracts. We did a contract, they came back with some suggested line items. So we're gonna look at those and everybody, Greg, Joyce, look at those contracts. And we'll look at this again in closed session in May. Yes.
I did communicate with the board, and we will pay for 2 of the porta potties.
I'm sorry?
I communicated with the chamber board, and we will pay for 2 of the porta potties.
That was fast.
I'm on it, baby.
I love it.
Yeah.
Now, not putting words in the board's mouth, but I just want to understand what I thought I heard, that we are gonna move forward with the repairs, and we're gonna look, I'm gonna send Dina the second bid, which is more than John Truxell, and with the presumption that John wins that bid, the work will begin. Is that a correct statement?
Yes.
I don't want to put.
This is correct.
Okay,
I'm calling Jonathan.
Okay.
Because the previous board had already approved
okay.
the work to be done at $4,960.31.
Right.
And so Bob will talk to him and we'll get him a scheduled date
Perfect.
and all the things that were on that list. And we'll go from there. But yes, give her that copy
I will.
for our records.
I'll do that. And Dina, you can give the same email, just your name.
Just my name.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, so that completes old business.
Thanks, Gordon.
Thank you.
All right, so new business. Changing the bank signers. So, we are removing, who are we removing? We're removing Kent. I'm sorry, Ed. Oh, and Stephen, okay, I didn't know him from. Oh, as the vice president, right, or vice chair, okay. We didn't do that, we didn't, when we were going through the liaisons, we didn't,
You know, she's about $6,000 she's back from me and Tammy. I'll give you mine.
And I have to.
Oh, you do. I'll give you mine tomorrow.
so we're adding Kim Kirby. And so we need, can we do this, since I didn't have it on the agenda to approve a vice chair?
That would be one of those things just by, it's
A
not an
motion.
ordinance, it's by
My
motion.
motion.
Each file, yeah.
So, Steve was the vice chair before, that's the person that's going to fill in if I'm not here, or, anything like that, so would one of you like to nominate somebody
I'd
to
like
be
to
the
nominate,
vice chair?
I'd like to nominate Greg to be the vice chair. He's been mayor as well, so he knows what to do.
Okay, so let's, we have a motion to, or actually, a nomination for Greg Hoffman to be the vice chair, and that was seconded by Joyce. Any further nominations?
Greg, do you want that?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, so, all in favor? We've nominated Greg to be our, vice chair. 3-0, Greg is abstaining. So we would put me, Greg Hoffman, and we do not have a replacement for Ed as yet, but I'll have somebody in mind and wanna talk about that in closed session when we go for personnel. So we could, come back.
Does that mean that you can just do without me from now?
I'm sorry?
Does that mean you can do without me?
No, we can't, not yet. I thought you were, here till May 1.
Well, my idea was that I would stay if he needed me, so.
Okay, well, we can find out. Until the end of it. Yes, okay, that would be great. So we might not make, we might make just the 2 changes, and then do it again if we need to. There are a lot of checks that need to be signed.
I can sign that all.
Okay. Okay. All right, well, what do you think? Should we just wait until we see after closed session and, put this at the bottom of the agenda when we come back to open? How about that? So I want a motion to just amend the agenda to put the bank signers at the end of the agenda.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, so the motion is to amend the agenda by placing the bank signers matter under open session item number 23 on the agenda. Is there a second? Joyce is seconding that. All in favor? Yes. Bid items. CPA, so you guys placed, this board placed out for bid, a request for qualifications for a CPA to come in and work, and there was no bids whatsoever. Well, I didn't think you'd give me bids, because you're not gonna get anybody that's gonna say, well, I don't know Encode, there's not a whole lot of CPAs that probably know the Encode, software. So I think we should just hang on to this for now until we, get this budget passed and we see what all we need. We've got a couple of other ideas, talking, with Dina about, for instance, putting payroll on Sequoia, which is the water billing system, and it's, they come up and train for nothing. And hello, so, there's some changes that we might be able to suggest to you all that you approve coming up, but we need time to get those, prepared. Is that okay? Okay. No bids, no bids. We have no resolutions, but we have two ordinances. The first one is the PACE ordinance. I don't have one of those papers that show what I would call the ordinance call. Do you have those? Okay, well, we'll wing it. Okay, so on the PACE, they had been talking about this in the previous board. Did you have any questions on that, Sean or Jerry? The very last section, section 4, it says the city authorizes and directs the mayor, I'm assuming chief elected official, to appoint a member of the advisory council of Missouri Clean Energy District and to notify the district of the person so appointed. So that would be that right there. You've got mayor in that spot. Okay? I had another question, Jeff. You said you've worked with cities that had worked with districts. It says that authorizes one or more municipalities to clean energy develop versus, hang on, find it. It said something about we would have a board. Is there a page
First page, probably the whereas clauses, right?
yeah, I think it was a whereas clause I was reading. But I had a question about that, so I was like, what, do we have to have a separate board for that, or?
I think just a liaison that talks to the.
So it's just a liaison?
Yeah.
Not a board? Oh, here it is. It said establish a clean energy development board. Right there, it's the 1, 2, 3, 4th whereas down. Authorizes one or more municipalities to establish a clean energy development board to participate in and administer a property assessed clean energy program. So when they are telling us to establish a clean energy development board, what does that entail?
Are they telling us to do that, or they're saying that the section authorizes one or more municipalities together to establish this program, which we're joining?
Okay.
That's what I think it says.
That's what you're saying. Okay. Because I was confused on that it was telling us that we had to have a board, and we don't want to have a board.
I think that's how it works.
Okay.
that's true.
Okay. So what it was saying, my bad, I thought it was saying for us to have a board, we're just gonna be in that board. Okay. So we would, Greg or Joyce, you would probably have the most experience doing this all
Yeah,
year.
we can do it without Mark and Joyce for our,
Do it, yeah, let's go, Joyce.
Make a motion to put ordinance number 13.431, bill number 236 on first reading by title only.
Here, a second?
second.
Great. All in favor? 4-0. Ordinance number 13.431, bill number 236. An ordinance to enable the City of Weston, Missouri to join the Missouri Clean Energy District pursuant to sections 67.2800 to 67.2835, inclusive RSMO, the Property Assessment Clean Energy Act, and stating the terms under which the city will conduct activities within the city as a member of such district. Motion to accept.
Make a motion to accept first reading.
Second.
Wait a second. All in favor? 4-0.
Make a motion to place ordinance number 13.431, bill number 236 on second reading by title only.
Second.
All in favor? 4-0. An ordinance to enable the City of Weston, Missouri to join the Missouri Clean Energy District pursuant to section 67.2800 to 67.2835, inclusive RSMO, the Property Assessment Clean Energy Act, and stating the terms under which the city will conduct activities within the city as a member of such district.
Make a motion to accept second reading.
Second.
All in favor? 4-0.
Make a motion to place ordinance number 13.431, bill number 236 on final passage.
Second.
Ordinance number 13. All in favor? Thank you. Ordinance 13.431, bill number 236, an ordinance to enable the City of Weston, Missouri to join the Missouri Clean Energy District pursuant to section 67.2800 to 67.2835, inclusive RSMO, the Property Assessment Clean Energy Act, and stating the terms under which the city will conduct activities within the city as a member of such district. Now, is this where we go now, therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Weston, Missouri, this 14th day of April, 2025.
Motion to.
To accept final passage.
Second.
All in favor? Or
Do we have to-
we roll call. Final passage, Joyce? Terry?
Yes.
Sean?
Yes.
Great. So all yes.
That's a process right there.
Yay, we used to have a great
Thanks,
cheat
guys.
sheet on that, we have to find it.
Yeah. We'll make sure that right.
All right, so now the next
I don't know,
ordinance.
is there a
Oh.
email or something, I gotta send something to Missouri yet, I'm not sure. Is
We
there
can
an
get you, it
official
says a
thing?
certified copy. Have you ever done a certified copy? We have a thing that just says certification, and you just certify it, put your test thing on it, and I'll show it to you. And, so we'll get that for you.
Great.
And the next one is the, mayor signed lease agreement, which I did not get a copy of, the lease agreement. But, does everybody have a copy of the lease agreement? No, you didn't. I'm not gonna read it now, it's probably in the packet, it's back in my, yeah, I was just looking. That was, yeah, so I'll do that. Okay, so does anybody have any questions about the lease agreement that we're looking at to, maybe Eric, can you explain what happens with the farm land, the lease?
As far as,
It's the land where our land application is, right? And what, is the farmer is doing what?
so, Joe Lau got the bid for contracts for 2 years. And I think he said this year he's gonna plant corn, last year it was soybeans. So, I mean, it's just a farm lease, like any other
Okay.
farm
Yes.
lease.
It's on the 179 acres that the city owns, that we normally land apply the water from the lagoon. So, do we land apply while he's growing or before, while he's growing? Okay. Alright. So that's what the lease is about, and he's gonna pay us X amount of dollars to do so.
Yes.
What's our X?
$26,260.
Is that per year?
Yes.
Okay, okay, when does he pay that?
Says payable on or before December 1st of each year of the term for renewal.
We'll need to make sure that's in the budget, I don't remember seeing it in the budget, that would be
Yeah, that's-
26,000 in the
Yeah,
budget.
I don't think it's in there.
It wouldn't,
Okay.
it couldn't be in there, because we didn't know what it was gonna be until
Well, I
a
think-
week ago.
I think there is a line item that says.
Oh, there's probably a line item, but there shouldn't be.
But we know the exact amount in there now.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so is there any other questions for that, okay? Then Joyce, you wanna hit it again?
Make a motion to place bill 237 131.432 on first passage.
First reading by title only.
First reading by title only.
Second.
All in favor? Everybody's good? Well, bill number 2371, ordinance 13.432, an ordinance authorizing and directing the mayor of the city of Weston, Missouri to sign farm lease agreement with Lau Ag LLC for the express purpose of farming city-owned property.
Make a motion to, accept first reading.
Second.
All in favor?
Make a motion to place bill.
Give second reading.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah, I lost my place now.
Give second reading. We just approved the first reading.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were motion to place it on second reading.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't I read this again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were gonna go final passage.
Okay. Motion to put bill number 2371, ordinance number 13.432 on second reading by title only.
Second.
All in favor? We're over. An ordinance authorizing and directing the mayor of the city of Weston, Missouri to sign farm lease agreement with Lau Ag LLC for the express purpose of farming city-owned property.
Make a motion to place bill number 237.
So,
Oh, I'm sorry.
accept, yeah.
Accept the second reading.
Second.
All in favor? 4-0.
Make a motion to place bill 2371, ordinance number 13.432 on final passage.
Second.
All in favor? An ordinance authorizing and directing mayor of the city of West Missouri to sign farm lease agreement with Lau Ag LLC for the express purpose of farming city-owned property. Now therefore be it ordained by the Board of Aldermen of the city of West Missouri as follows. Pass this 14th day of April, 2025. Joyce?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
Sean? Yes. Craig?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll sign that and we'll get our. Okay, so Ed, your last treasurer's report. I haven't seen it. I haven't got a copy of it.
I got a copy of it.
Thank you.
You want me to make a comment or two?
Sure.
I know you don't agree completely with the way I use figures. You have checked for rounding off numbers probably. I have an answer to that, but I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm leaving you with a report that says you've got somewhere near $4 million in money. And it is showing you how much money it is if you compensate for rounding off their figures. And it's showing you where that money is. And to the best of my knowledge, that is accurate. find out how much money we got, find out where it is. That has had that and been accurate for at least 6 months.
You say inaccurate?
We don't need to talk about that. I have learned tonight, one of the things that just tickles me to go in, and I have waited for, because I told Kent I would stay here long enough until I saw the new system was working right. And I have. Not completely right, but it's gonna be there, and it's going to be there now. For heaven's sakes, pay attention to what she tells you on what to do with getting the money into the right funds. That has got to happen. You can't just have the money spread out all over the place in a bunch of funds that don't relate to each other. With the old system, the old Pickle system, it had it right and it works. She would like to be praised for not doing that to her tonight.
Are you talking about me?
I'm talking about you.
Oh.
Listen to what she has to say about that. So that's one of the things that really needs to be done, and done quickly. So we know where the money is, in case we need it. So, we know how much we've got, it's just may not be in the right place. I just took a little bit to hear that, that makes me go home with a good feeling. I think I'm through.
Thank you, Ed. So I would entertain a motion to approve the final treasurer's report of Mr. Ed Farren. Great.
Yeah, I'll make a treasurer's report.
We need to get a copy, we get a copy of that, that's in the box, okay. I'll second his motion.
All in favor? Okay. Great, thank you, Ed, this is awesome information. We appreciate your service and this information, and yes, we're gonna move towards making sure those numbers in those, fund balances are correct.
Fund balances is what I'm concerned about.
Yeah.
Those numbers are correct.
Yeah.
Now, if you say that there's $4 million there, and there's about 20 cash figures, and if you're concerned with that, we need to round them off.
No, I'm not worried about it.
10, okay.
No. My worry is that these numbers right here,
From the bank.
$4 million from the bank, equal what our fund balances are, because they need to match.
Then somebody's got something wrong.
Because fund balances should match what money you have in the bank. That's what we, for years, remember when we did our balance sheet? And those all came out, and it was zero there, and if it was off by a penny, I was looking everywhere.
How else can I make sure there's right if the bank doesn't have it right?
Oh, I ain't worried about the bank. The bank numbers are gonna be right, because there's the money.
Bank, it's coming right off the bank statement.
Yeah, exactly. The bank money's gonna be right. It's the fund balances that have to match it.
Okay, I understand that, you're absolutely right. And the other thing that's on there is, I didn't want to see somebody balk or make a mistake and not pay the note balance. And that's all in there, and very clean, reasonably clean. But so you can tell what to do on the bonds.
Right.
And when.
Exactly.
You got it.
Thank you.
That's gonna, when I get out of here, that's gonna be the end of the meeting, that's my contribution. To try to make it
Thank you.
right.
Thank you. All right, so, around the horn here, Chief. Steven,
Are we close enough?
we're gonna go to closed session for personnel, which you'll be up first.
Are we close enough to passing the budget that I can solicit bids for dredging the lagoons and cleaning and inspecting well ones?
You can do that as long as you can come up with a scope of work
It's
and,
a typical thing.
put that in the paper, and also you can mail it to the companies you want bids from as well.
But my question is, are we gonna pass the budget Tuesday?
On Tuesday the 22nd, yes, sir.
Okay, so.
So you can move towards that.
I've heard that.
And get everything lined up, and we'll make a motion after we approve the budget that we are going to place that out for bidding.
Sounds good.
Eric,
No, ma'am.
no report?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Jerry, do you have anything to add to the meeting?
I'll just have to be here, to continue to serve the community.
Thank you. Joyce?
When was told us to look at the contract with the chamber, can we do that with the districts?
Sure. Yeah, I think that's, something that,
You have a copy, right, of the district?
Yes, yeah, I have a copy.
If we can get those, as a copy of it.
I thought it was, maybe just emailed it to you. Yeah. Anything else? Add any more?
First 2 or 3, for the first couple of, for the recent 2 or 3 years, I have gone to closed session meetings, because I want to know what was going on.
Right,
I
we won't.
don't need to be there tonight, I don't.
No, this is a personnel matters, to do a couple things, and nobody needs to be in there, no employees need to be in there, except for Steven, because he wants to talk about hiring somebody specific.
Did you have some reason for wanting me to stay here?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, good.
Scott, Sean, I put your first and your last name together.
That was why. City emails?
Yes, we're getting city emails, and we need to give, Dina a 4-digit code that she will set up our code in the alarm system, so that when we wanna come in to get packets or look in our box, you can be able to come in, put the code in and go in. We'll get keys to the building. You can use the last 4, or you can do anyone. Because once you get the number, she gives that to the alarm company. Is it still Midwest?
It's not Midwest anymore, they just changed that.
Oh, okay. So we'll give that to
Midwest.
her before we leave. Great, anything else? Sean? I'm done. Okay.
I'll just mention, Park Board, the Orchard Hill Park, formwork is done for the concrete, they're paving tomorrow, so.
I saw some work out there.
Yeah, so.
What's it gonna be?
What's the park gonna do?
Yeah, what are they building?
Yeah, so there's a half-court basketball court, there'll be a swing set, there'll be a little picnic area. And, yeah, just some landscaping, so, just a pretty.
Yeah.
One of the pocket parks.
Right, so anybody from Webster Court, Austin, any of those people can go over and play.
Anybody in town,
Yeah.
but yeah, any of those can
Yeah.
walk, yeah, it's not for exclusive use
Yeah.
by anybody, it's a public park.
Right.
She's
Cool.
she's.
I'm over on top. Anything else that anybody has? Then I'll make, I think, okay, we need to come back.
Was this back we got via email earlier?
I think it was pretty much the same, other than she had added,
Just a couple things.
couple things, yeah. Like the lease agreement wasn't, in there, but it is in this one that she had for us today. Sorry, took a more letter. Let's see what I missed.
You know what? Yes, we could go to very good.
It's not. But yeah. In that area.
Okay. So we need a motion to go to closed session, just a one One reason only.
I'll make a motion to go to closed session pursuant to RSM section 610.021.3 to discuss hiring, firing, and discipline.
Second is Greg. Jerry?
Yes.
Roll call vote, so Joyce?
Yes.
Sean? Greg?
Yes.
Okay, we're gonna go to closed session for 3 or 4 things, and then we'll be back.
That's the number, I think. Someone's gonna have a number. I just made a new friend. The whole thing is recorded too. It's live stream and archived online too.
It's been great.
It's not that hard to do.